This is going to be a crash course in using Premiere Pro to edit for VR videos. You can read through the requirements for this. So there's certain system requirements. You can read about VR auto detection. Just read over this entire page because it'll give you a nice breakdown. There's also sound, setting up for VR sound here. But I'm just gonna run through everything I think you need to know for the class. Download Premiere Pro and open up a new project. And once you do that, this page will come up. You've got several windows here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you click window, you can change the type of workspace. I have it set to all panels, but say if you're focusing on color, you could click color and it pulls up this like Lumetri scopes and Lumetri color. But for right now, we will just stick to all panels, and you can import the media that you want to import by double clicking here or dragging and dropping. So I picked just 3 quick videos to work with for right now. And so you could bring in new media as you work, or you can put everything in all at once. It's up to you. So from here, you can double click this square to the left, and it'll pop up with a preview of the video. From here, if you don't see these like tick mark things, you can press the plus and drag them in and drop them, and press OK. And these are mark in and mark out. So say you don't want all of the clip to work with in your timeline here, you could set it mark in and then set it to mark out, and then drag and drop it, and you just get that shorter sequence there. So in the timeline here, we've got this video track. You can have multiple video tracks, so we've got V1, V2, V3, and you can add in more. And then these are audio tracks, so you can have various audio running, and you can mute it if you want. You can hide things with this little eyeball here, and whenever you click on this, it highlights both the video and the audio. Say you wanted to get rid of the audio, you can press Alt on a Windows and click, and it'll just select the one and delete. So I'm just going to delete the audio for right now. When you click on this and you come over into this panel here, you can select effects controls instead of source. Effects controls. And if you don't see effects controls, you can hit this arrow and select it. And you can change its position, X, Y. You can change its scale. You can change its rotation. So we're working with 360 video currently. Before I get started with the other things that we can do, I'm going to talk like a little bit about putting effects on your video, and a couple of things that I just do all the time that I'll just share with you, and then you can explore on your own. But specifically for VR, you want to make sure it has VR properties. So you can go to the sequence and select sequence settings here. And here you're set up with general, and you can see the resolution. You can also go into VR properties here, and it's already reading that it has VR properties. And that link that I showed you a little bit ago, if it doesn't have VR properties, you can make sure that you add them, and that page will tell you how. But here it's saying that it's equirectangular and it's monoscopic, and both of these are true. But if you needed to change it, you could change it to stereoscopic over under or stereoscopic side by side if you're working with the iPhone footage. So all looks good here. So I'm just going to exit out of that. In this program panel, so this is where we can see everything that we're doing. This is where we see if we make edits to it and change the color, we'll see it all happen here. So you can change like the size of the screen here, but I just always have it to fit to screen. And then this is the playback resolution. So if you have it set to full in your editing, this is a really large file, so it could potentially run really slowly. So I'm just going to set it like all the way to 1/16 on playback, so it runs a little bit quicker, but it'll look more blurry. If I have it set to full, it has that nice crisp view. So we'll do maybe 1/4 right now. All right. If you do not see this guy here, it just means that you need to go over into this plus editor, and see this here, you have to drag it and drop it. Drag it and drop it. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to like click on it and press OK and it doesn't show up. So just make sure you drag it down. And then another thing to grab here is the loop playback. So grab and drop that loop playback, which I already have here, and then press OK. The loop playback, when you select it, it will just loop the video. So, and then the VR, when clicked, makes it resemble what it'll look like in VR. So this is really helpful to toggle back and forth while you're editing. Another thing that we want to do is we are going to enable the GPU acceleration. So if you go to File, Project Settings, General, and here at Renderer, so Video Rendering and Playback, Renderer, I've got Mercury Playback Engine GPU Acceleration. I believe this is the one, you just want to make sure that's checked, GPU Acceleration. I think that's all we need to do here, just double checking everything and press OK. So cool, we are all set up for VR. There's 2 more things that we want to know in relation to VR in Premiere, and that is that if you come over here in this window and you have effects pulled up, you can type in VR and it will open up everything related to VR video. So experiment with this. There's certain video effects, VR blur, chromatic aberrations, color gradients, denoise, all sorts of stuff, fractal noise, glow. So you can see, play around with this. And then in immersive video, for video transitions, they've got various VR transitions. So that is just good to know. And I'll talk about adding effects in a second. The last thing specifically related to VR video is the export settings. So whenever you go to File, Export, it's grayed out, so just make sure you have, so this window was selected, so you have to select this window or this window, and then go to File, Export, Media. Here, you can make sure you have everything. Like, do you see how this black area is showing up? We don't want that. So we want to make sure everything is set up properly. So you want to you know, name it right here, choose where it's gonna, the location of the export. Right now it's set to high quality 1080p, and normally I do match source adaptive high bitrate, so that's what I'm gonna do. And now the black sections are gone, so that's good. H.264 for the format is what we want to use, so we're gonna keep it like that. Oh look, it changed again. So just be careful if you click something and you see a change over here, make sure you change it back. So match source, adaptive, high bitrate. Video here is, there's more settings that we need to check out. So if you go to more, you always want to render at maximum depth, and you always want to use maximum render quality here. So check those boxes. If you scroll down, you can change the target bitrate, maximum bitrate. It's going to be 100 for us, I do believe. So you'll want to change that. And then make sure this video's VR is checked. And make sure the settings here are correct. And if you're working with audio, you can check the audio settings and make sure everything is properly formatted. Off of the top of my head, I can't remember what's required, but if you check out the lecture slide deck that I gave the other day, then the audio settings should be, the specs for that are in there. That's it for that for right now. Now let's get into some basic like Premiere editing tips and tricks. Here I'm selecting the clip, and let's say I want to add an effect to it. If I come over here, there's a few areas that I can look at. So effects, essential graphics, essential sound, and Lumetri color are all over here. And then you can click on this arrow and see if there's anything else, but that's mostly what I use. Essential graphics, you can add title pages, ending, like credit page, and stuff like that. Going back into effects and video effects here, I'm gonna exit out of this VR that I had. Ooh. So there's just a ton of stuff to do, and I just recommend checking, just experimenting with stuff. Adjust, blur and sharpen, channel, color correction, distort, immersive video, Insta360. So this one is a Insta360 reframe. So you see this starting position of where the camera's at. I could use this to maybe reframe the starting position of where the viewer will wind up looking in the beginning of the video. Keying is good to know because this ultra key will act as sort of like a green screen, so you can select parts of your video and then add another video underneath so you can see through to the other video, and so that could help with that. Stylize, brushstrokes, all sorts of stylization that you can play with. And then video transitions is a big one, so we'll look at video transitions. And normally for video transitions, to keep it simple, I typically just use this film dissolve. So I'll show you how to do that. But first, let's change up something. So I'm gonna toggle out of VR here, and let's just play around. I've got this band set up here, but I don't want that. I want the Home Depot one, I believe. So I'm gonna combine an indoor and outdoor space. Let's go ahead and change the sequence settings to fit the video. And I'm gonna grab my sunset video and I'm gonna put it on this track 2. And right now, I have both of the audios going. I can just mute this one, so I'll keep it there Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna mute both of them because I don't really want audio playing right now. So you can just like press Alt and select it and delete it if you don't want. It's up to you. So here we've got video 1 and video 2. So if I come over here and I lower the opacity, you can lay videos over the top of each other. If you are in the timeline here and use the scroll wheel, you'll go right and left. But if you press Alt on a Windows and use the scroll wheel, you can zoom out a bit so you can see everything, and you can zoom in whenever you really want to work on some details. So that is handy to know. While we are here, we will also look at this panel. So this is the arrow, the selection tool. This is the razor tool. So with the razor tool, we can snip our video. Snip, 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 right? And move things around. And then if you want to change it back, you can press this, or you can press V. So C is cut and V is arrow. C and V, just to save some time. And then you can drag and select that and just delete whatever video you don't want to use. Hand tool, rectangle tool, pen tool, slip tool, type tool if you want to add text. And that's about it. So let's say I want this video to I want this video to fade in very slowly, but I want it to also overlay on my other video. You can come over here in the effects controls while this is selected and see opacity here. There's this little toggle animation that you can click, and it sort of looks like a timer to me. Whenever you click it, you can add keyframes to animate certain things. So you can animate effects, you can animate color, you can animate the size of a video, you can do all sorts of stuff. So I want it to start at 0, and I want it to end at 100 opacity, or even maybe I don't want it to even end. I want it to be 100 opacity right here so we can see some of it. So let's look and see what this might look like. Oh, and I'm going to stop us real quick because this is pretty long for a demo. So if it's pretty long, I'm just going to highlight my videos and right click. Here you can go to speed and duration, and you can change the amount of time that the video takes. So maybe you want to just speed things up or slow things down. This is where you would do it. You can also reverse speed. So this is, reverse speed is playing it backwards. Cool. So I want it to be a very specific time. Maybe at about, let's make it 20 seconds. Now this is going to be crazy fast. Just for the sake of this video, I'm doing it like that. Oh, and I'm going to press the space bar to pause and to play. And so it's actually really, really, really fast. So I'm seeing some some playback issues. So instead of doing that, I will just cut the video shorter. But just know that that's how you can change the speed if you want. You can get some time lapses and stuff. And so whenever I did that and I cut it shorter, well, guess what? It cut off the opacity shift. So I have to then go and change it up again. So we will watch as it shifts from Home Depot into my backyard. It's a pretty cool transition here. And now we're in the peaceful backyard. So that's one way to do stuff. let's add some effects, so saving work. So over here with effects, let's just distort it so we can see some craziness happen. You could do like lens distort or the mirror effect to get like a Rorschach. I love turbulent displace is a really fun one. Of course, I don't want everybody to use turbulent displace, but I will show you what it does. So you can grab these and just drop them on a video clip. And then if you have this clip selected in the effects controls, you can scroll and you can see that turbulent places here. And then you can like change the settings. So I'm gonna undo that because that would corrupt my video. And a better way to add an effect is to come over here and down here in new item, add adjustment layer. Make sure your adjustment layer matches your sequence settings and press OK. And then go ahead and drag and drop the adjustment layer on top of your video. So let's say I just want it to happen to my Home Depot lights here. I would move my sun setting on top of the adjustment layer so that it only affects what's below it. So here I'm just going to drag it to the length of my video. And in the adjustments layer selected, I will drop turbulent displace on that layer instead of my video. That way I can always toggle it on and off and see if maybe I want to get rid of it. It's super easy to just delete and hide and things like that. So now we are not corrupting our original footage. Cool, so in here, let's go see what turbulent displace does. So there's different settings, feel free to play around. If you change the amount, let me make this a bit bigger. So you see it sort of makes it wiggly, so I'm going to undo that and bring it up again. Oh snap, it's crazy. So it's kind of a cool effect. I really like it. Let's see what it looks like in VR. Oh, so as soon as you put turbulent displace on, it affects it immediately. So you have to drop it down to 0 to have none. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing with the effect that we did with the opacity. We're just going to set a timer on it. So I will do timer for amount and then timer for complexity, and I'll start it at 0, and I want it 0 for like a little bit. So I'm going to add another keyframe by selecting that, and then from here I want it to just increase its complexity to the end. So I will go to the end of my clip and up the amount to just something crazy, I don't know, 73, and then complexity I'll increase as well. So let's see what that looks like. And it's not really working out so well because I probably just need to apply it to both of these videos. So I'll move my adjustments layer to the top and then replay. I'd probably work harder on it and make it look a lot better if I was really working on this project, but I just wanted to show you how you might apply an effect and change the timing and stuff. So you can always go and toggle the effect off here, right? Just so you know the difference. This is what it's like off, this is what it's like on. So I'd probably get even crazier. Like I'd go like, whoa, crazy, crazy. So now it's sort of like an abstract painting almost instead of a backyard. which is kind of cool. Cool, so let's turn off that effect and talk about color really quickly. So if you come up here and go to Lumetri color, you can do basic color correction, creative, curves, color wheel, HSL, secondary, vignette. Here's where the white balance is, temperature, tint, and saturation. Woo. Creative, I haven't messed with too much, but you can change the look of it. That one's kind of neat. Undo, undo. I want none. And then let's see, you can go to curves and play around here. Here you could do like change blue to something else. So you're changing the hue of everything, which is kind of fun. And then let's see, what else have we got here? Ooh, this sort of, I really like the color on this orange sky, blue trees, very alien. HSL secondary is a good thing to learn, and I just started messing around with this, but you can select colors and then you should be able to change them, I believe, but I've only had a little bit of experience with this. So look up the HSL secondary Lumetri colors for Premiere Pro to get like really crafty with your color grading and color changing and stuff. And then yeah, vignette, so you could add in some vignette for a more cinematic feel. Be careful with stuff like this though, because like you want to toggle on the VR because it may look cool in the 2D version, but like look, it looks very weird in the 3D version. So always keep toggling. I'm gonna feather this out. So like vignette may not be the thing that you want for this, but the color change is looking really, really neat. Let's say you want to add another scene and you want to transition that scene. In your timeline here, you can drag and drop. Let's see, let's go to the band setup scene and drag it here. From here, we'll see the transition is very fast. So if you want to come up here, go into effects and video transitions. Like I said before, I normally add a film dissolve. I'm zooming in so I can see it. And the film dissolve is just a very basic fade transition. It happened really quickly, right? So you press Alt and scroll wheel, zoom in, click on film dissolve, and whenever this bracket pops up, you can drag it to extend it and make it a bit bigger so it isn't so fast. I think that's the super minimum basics for right now, and then from there I think we can figure things out as we go. So yeah, happy VR video editing, and let me know if you have any questions.